Blood, 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 blood.
The Crimson Harvest is here, where glory comes to those who hunt, and ruin befalls the naive bystanders. So let's make sure that you are on the profitable side of history this year. In this video, we're going to be going over everything that you need to know about the Crimson Harvest this year, including the general info everyone must know for the month, the rewards for participating in the event, the how to find the various data sites, and how to find and do the various combat sites. To start, this event goes until November 5th, so we have a whole month, so you better get ready for it. And the most important thing to know about this event is that there are 90% loot drops everywhere in New Eden for PvP. So this is a PvP month. Beware of getting evicted from your wormholes. Beware of people ganking you in high sec when they normally wouldn't. Just beware. People are going to be much more ready to blow shit up because they know that they're going to get more out of the deal. Other than that, there are some really cool drugs. If we go ahead and hop into Eve, we can navigate the regional market and find the boosters for this event. We have the anti-disruption booster, which go ahead and gives you weapon disruptor resistance. So if you're playing a Vargar and you don't want to get disrupted, you might want to be taking some of those. Some anti-drain, which improves your energy warfare resistance. If you don't want to get neuted out, great drugs to be taken there. Also really good for like wormhole ratting, just saying. The Nosferatu is that you can suck cap away from enemies, a little bit easier with that drug. And then the capacitor drug, an incredibly useful drug. Capacitor is one of the most important resources that this game has, and now you have a drug to increase it for yourself. We got Webifier, which increases your web range, also huge. Any bit of web range can be really beneficial, especially if you're flying a ship that improves your web range on top of that, like a Loki or a Hugin. And then you got the resistance booster, big armor percent resistance bonuses just in drug format. Like, make sure you are chug-a-lugging the drugs this month, because boy howdy, they are some good ones. Lastly, in our slot 17, we have damage, just straight turret damage, kind of like a agency, but you know, more, but only for turrets. And then a turret optimal range and tracking speed as well. So your turrets are going to be really good. A bunch of these drugs are kind of, think like the Blood Raider ships. They use as Nosses, they use caps, they use turrets, energy turrets, all that cool stuff. But be aware, drugs really good this month. After drugs, we have some Skinner patterns. You can find these Skinner patterns in a smorgasbord of, we'll talk about the daily login a little bit later, but you know, you can Skinner patterns. You know Skinner, you love Skinner, maybe? Probably not, but you can get some new Skinner patterns this month, so keep an eye out for them. And then lastly, the general info is that there are Twitch drops going on right now, so make sure you go ahead and head on over to Twitch, watch a few streams, get a few rewards. Easy peasy, fun stuff, good stuff. Make sure you do that. All right, now let's go ahead and take a little bit more deeper look in that daily login track. As I said before, there is a daily login reward track every day. You log in, you claim goodies. There's some good goodies. There are 33 days of goodies, so be aware of that. That said, the unique goodies end on day 25, and then after that you just get a nice smorgasbord of boosters, drugs. But as long as you get the day 25, you're getting the big old skill point final redeem there. But you can get some cool patterns, some cool skins, some cool drugs, some SP. Pretty standard stuff. You know what's going on with the daily login rewards kind of pretty much by this point. Some Evermarks, oh boy. And of course, there are an Alpha and Omega tracks separately. But if you are an Alpha, as long as you become an Omega at any point during the event, cough cough the last day, you will still retroactively get all of those Omega track rewards. And then there is the actual event itself, right? So there is, when we have these seasonal events, there's always these little challenge tracks. So if we go ahead and go to events in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, you get to choose a faction to support. Let's go ahead and choose Blood Raiders because we love blood. And here you can see that you're going to be getting some skins, some Skinner elements, some drugs, kind of the same flavor of stuff that you get on the reward track, except for the way that you get these is instead of logging in, you actually do these challenges. So you're going to be met with a group of challenges. It says enter a Tetramon base or scan down the Tetramon node network. And then whatever side you choose, so we chose blood, we are only going to get points for these challenge tracks if we do the Tetramon side. But that doesn't mean that you can't do both sides, just for actually the looting and good stuff there. Choose a side based on its rewards. If you want the blood stuff, then go blood. If you want Tetramon, go Tetramon. I like the blood stuff. I think it looks cooler, but you are free to choose that. All right, now that we have covered the general info and the rewards, let's talk about the actual sites themselves. The TLDR version of this is that this is more or less the same event that we saw last year. If you know what you're doing from last year, go ahead, you're free to go. But if you don't know, there are normal sites everywhere in space. And there's going to be 3 cans of goodies in these sites. And the goodies are going to be things like drugs, more drugs, more drugs. You got harvest drugs, agency drugs, SP training drugs, all those good stuff. And then you can also get these little items, which are going to be the NPC buy orders. There used to only be war clone blanks. Now there is another, basically same thing as a war clone blank. It's just named differently. You turn it into a deity site. It's just for the Blood Raider site instead. You can also get some fireworks, some clothing, some skins, and some random data can shite as well, just as a cherry on top. Lastly, though, what you can also find in these sites is that you get a little harvest key, which will be good for the combat sites, as we will discuss soon. After the normal sites, there are also hard sites, and you are going to only find these in Blood Raider Delve and within the Euclidean, Angelus, and Essen constellations that are in Metropolis. So if you want to go get the hard sites there, go for it, and you'll get much better rewards. Be aware, this is nullsec and lowsec, so there is a whole lot of combat PvP going on. Specifically with the data sites, be incredibly aware that there are Artie Lokis camped on every single site. And I'm not joking about this. If you bring a ship that cannot take a shot from an Artie Loki, you're going to die. And if you have a little small agile ship, you can try and orbit around the can, make sure you're moving, make sure you have some traversal, never stand still. You're going to get shot. You can also fly a larger, beefier ship. I like to fly the Synesis for these kinds of events. Other people like to fly the Gnosis. It's up to you. You can fly a little Heron, etc. Just, be aware. You're not going to spend a lot on your ship, but you should probably freight a bunch of them to the area because you will probably blow up a number of times. They also have basically the same loot table as before the normal sites, just a lot more, and they're very lucrative. Problem here is that their hacking difficulty is I like to call it a super red hack. So you have your green, yellow, red. This is one above the red. It still shows as red. I wish they chose a different color, but they're very difficult. So if you are not well trained in hacking, and if you don't really particularly know what you do, make sure you check out some videos on this channel here where you can learn a bunch about that. But, be aware it's going to be a little bit difficult, especially if you have low skills or an alpha character, etc. But once you do it, you can blow up some cans. It's fine, whatever. You're still going to make a whole lot of money if you go do these extra difficult sites, but there is a lot of PvP involved. Moving on to the combat portion here, it is also the same as last year. So if you know what that is, it's going to be the sites where enemies are going to do a lot of E-War against you. They're going to web you, they're going to neutralize you, they're going to warp disrupt you, but not scram unless you are in the Blood Raider sites. And then the follower frigates scram, but they also go right towards you. So make sure if you ever see any of those follower frigate scammers in the Blood Raider sites, target them first, shoot them. They have no traversal. They should explode incredibly quickly. But other than that, be aware that you're going to be warp disrupted and locked down pretty heavily. And for this reason, the sites are kind of meant for very strong cruisers up to battleships to take these sites on. Most people are going to be using Chronoses, but you can certainly do them in a Loki if you want. You could do them in command ships, so Sleipnirs, battle cruisers, things like that, alligators, Kizreels, fun stuff, but they are hard. Probably utilize a micro jump drive. A lot of people are doing that on their battleships because also whenever you micro jump drive away, the enemies will warp out and then warp back to you. So they're always going to be pretty much in your face, which is why people like Chronoses. They consist of 3 rooms. You can skip room number 1 and number 2 if you have one of those keys that we talked about earlier. So you just go ahead and have one of those keys in your inventory. You activate the shortcut gate, and lo and behold, you're in room 3. If you don't have this, you have to clear the wave of room 1 You got to go into room 2, clear the waves there, and then you can go into room 3. And then once you're in room 3, you're killing some waves of enemies until a boss spawns. You snipe down the boss. When you kill the boss, all the other enemies go away, so you just focus fire on him. And pretty much all the loot in these sites is located in that boss wreck, so make sure you just go ahead and kill him. And if you are a battleship, you might want to bring a tractor beam, so you can just grab his wreck real easy peasy, get all the goodies, and be on your merry way. Also, just like the data sites, there are normal versions of these sites found everywhere in space, and then the hard version of these sites found in those specific areas of Blood Raider Delve and Ugidi, Angus, and Essen constellations in Metropolis. There is also on the hard sites a structure that appears at the end of the site, which you can kill for a little bit more extra loot, and more specifically, a chance at an escalation, which is pretty much just the same combat, all the same ships and whatnot. It's a little bit more ramped up, so be aware. It's going to be even more difficult and scary, and it is also not in a dead space grid. So if you do go do them, be aware that some people can combat scan you down and warp directly onto you instead of warping like at 0, where they always have to warp to a specific area if they're going to the site itself. And that's pretty much all I got for you today for the Blood Raider Harvest event. Go out there, make a lot of money. This is always a very lucrative event. People enjoy it year after year. And again, if you do want some tips and tricks for hacking, go ahead and watch this video. And if you know everything about hacking, Eve thinks you should watch this video.